at thank you. I'm calling the September 10th, 2024 meeting of the Thompson Inland Wetlands Commission to order at 7:02 p.m. We're meeting via Zoom and we'll be following our regular protocol, which means that this meeting is being recorded for audio and visual content and is under the control of the Zoom host. To ensure optimal sound quality, the general rule for this meeting is that everyone will remain on mute. Commissioners and staff will generally remain muted except when speaking or voting, and will generally have their video turned on throughout the meeting. Applicants, their representatives, and the general public may leave their video on or off, but will be asked to turn their video on when speaking. That said, no one for whom video is not an option will be precluded from speaking at the appropriate time or from listening to the meeting. All participants must state their name for the record each and every time they speak. Please raise your hand at the appropriate time using the raise your hand feature located at the bottom of your screen to let me and the host know that you wish to speak, and I as chair shall recognize you. Please do not speak until you're recognized. Members of the general public may only speak during those portions of the meeting set aside on the agenda for citizens' comments. There are two such opportunities, one near the beginning and the other toward the end of the meeting. Individual applicants, permittees, and violators whose names appear on the agenda and/or their representatives will be invited to speak when that agenda item is discussed. If any party has documents to submit to the commission which were not distributed in advance of the meeting, please indicate when that item comes up for discussion that you wish to submit them. You must hold them up to the camera so that the commission and all members of the public can view them. You'll be required after the meeting to submit an electronic version of any documents, either in a PDF format or an acceptable photograph via email to the Thompson Inland Wetlands agent to ensure that they're included in the permanent records of the commission. I have to remind everyone that if a member of the general public tries to communicate at a time other than that set aside for citizens' comments, or if anyone in attendance speaks out of order in a disruptive or inappropriate manner, or for an inordinate length of time, they may be prevented from doing so, and if necessary, ejected from the meeting at my discretion. Those are the preliminaries. I shall now call the roll. Commissioners, please respond by saying present. Commissioner Langer?
Present.
Commissioner Morano.
Present.
Thank you. Commissioner Obert. Commissioner Obert, you're muted, but I see you.
I unmuted, said present, and muted it.
Okay.
And it was so fast that the computer didn't catch up.
It was a quantum thing.
Yes, it was. It was. And it just about makes sense.
I believe Commissioner O'Neill is unable to join us this evening. We nevertheless have a quorum. Staff members present this evening include our duly authorized inland wetlands agent, Margaret Washburn, Amy St. Ange, first selectman for the town of Thompson and Zoom host. I believe that Gloria Harvey, our recording secretary, is also present. The next item on the agenda is the appointment
Mr. Chairman,
yes.
Can I recommend that we seat our alternate?
Yes, I was, our alternate is in attendance, so I am pleased to welcome Greg Corso, whose appointment as an alternate was confirmed by the Thompson Board of Selectmen on September 3rd. Thank you, Greg, for your willingness to serve. We are very happy to have you. And seeing as all regular members of the commission are not present at this meeting, it is therefore necessary to seat an alternate. Commissioner Corso is hereby seated. He is welcome to participate in discussions and to cast votes as appropriate. The next item on the agenda is to approve the minutes of the August 13th, 2024 regular meeting of the commission. And to facilitate that, I shall share my screen. Let's see. Basic. How is this going to work? Let's do, we're going to do this. Okay. That, I believe, is the agenda. Do not need that. Ah, here we go. Here we have some minutes. So let me see if I can increase these guess I'm not making those any larger, so I'm going to do it this way, which should enable me to expand those.
That's excellent.
Is that better? Okay, very good. So do commissioners or staff members wish to offer any corrections to these minutes? And if so, and if they're acceptable, the recording secretary will note and incorporate those corrections. Margaret Washburn, I believe you had a couple of corrections to offer. I could offer them on your behalf if you like.
Go ahead, please.
Okay, so this from our inland wetlands agent on page 6, and I can move to page 6. These are minor. In the first paragraph, the second line, the second occurrence of Margaret's name is misspelled. It's Margaret rather than Margaret. So perhaps that could be corrected. And in the second paragraph, second line, I'm sure Mr. Meehan might find it a compliment to have his first name Brain, but his first name is Brian, and that should be corrected as well. While I'm here, I had a couple of minor suggestions on page 5 in the first full paragraph, the 10th line down. I will indicate this. We have a double occurrence of the phrase had to be. So perhaps one of those had to be's could be deleted. And in the
Is that Hamlet? To be or not to be?
Had to, there we go. That's Shakespeare. And in the following paragraph, in the third line from the bottom, similarly, we have a repeat of the phrase is to. So one of those is to's could be deleted. Were there any other corrections to the minutes? Hearing none, I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the August 13th, 2024 regular meeting as corrected.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Thank you, Commissioner Morano, for making that motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Commissioner Langer, for seconding that motion. All those in favor?
Discussion. Those are pretty minor. I think Gloria did a really good job.
I thank you for the discussion and thank you for that comment. I wholeheartly agree. There are meetings, there's a lot of substance to our meetings, and I think she does a good job of condensing that while distilling it so we get the essentials. Very helpful.
I vote to approve.
Thank you. So all those in favor of approving the minutes?
Aye.
All those opposed? None. The minutes are unanimously accepted as corrected. The next item on the agenda is to do the minutes of the special meeting of the commission held on September 7th, 2020. I believe, are these in the supplemental docs, Margaret?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, that's what it was called. 2 pages that was in this
Close
afternoon.
these out, and I will do some fancy footwork here and move over to the supplemental docs. And now I realize I have to stop sharing. Okay, so now I shall share my screen again. Okay. So I should emphasize that what we are doing now is simply approving these minutes. The application for this site walk was, for which the site walk was conducted, is a separate agenda item and will be up for discussion at a later point. So the question I will pose now is whether commission members or staff wish to offer any corrections to these minutes. Hearing none, we'll entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the special meeting held on Saturday, September 7th, 2020.
So moved.
Thank you, Commissioner Olbert, for making
I'll
that.
second.
Thank you, Commissioner Morano, for seconding that motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
I should say,
Aye.
my turn. Discussion. I'm going to thank Margaret in this case for taking such detailed minutes. There was a lot to record there. So all those in favor of accepting these minutes?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? These minutes are unanimously accepted and approved as written. The next item on the agenda is citizens' comments on agenda items. Please note that this is an opportunity for members of the general public, other than applicants, violators, or their representatives, to inform the commission of any questions, concerns, or observations relating to specific agenda items. Further discussion of those items by the commission will be reserved for those portions of the meeting specified. Are there any comments on agenda items that members of the general public would like to share? Very happy to hear them. If not, the commission will now consider pending applications, beginning with applications previously received. For that, I will share my screen again. I think it probably would help if I open that. Oh. This is the right, no, these are the. Trying to make sure I have the right documents here. I think these are right. Okay. All right. Our first agenda item under old applications is IWA number 24016, formerly WAA number 24016. This is Wesley Monson, 130 Jezersky Road, map 36, block 68, lot 10, to construct a 20 by 30-foot cold storage garage in the Upland Review area, submitted on May 7th, 2024, converted to an individual permit application and placed on hold pending health department approval. The site plan was received on August 8th, 2024. The health department approval has been received. Is that right, Margaret?
Yes.
So my sense here is that in your view, there are no further issues, and would you recommend approval at this point?
Yes.
Very good. Do I have a motion to approve IWA number 24016?
I'll make a motion to approve IWA 424016.
Thank you.
I think that's all I need to say, actually.
Thank you, Commissioner Rana, for making that motion. Do I have a second on that motion?
I'll second.
Thank you, Commissioner Langer, for seconding that motion. Is there any discussion? If not, I will ask for a vote. All those in favor of approving IWA number 24016, please indicate.
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Hearing none, IWA number 24016 is unanimously approved. Thank you. The next item on the agenda, E2, is DEC number 24027, Town of Thompson, Jezersky Lane, map 116, block X, no lot number, to stabilize the upland review area on both sides of the road at the culvert where the 5 Mile River flows under Jezersky. So Margaret, my understanding here is that apart from the Carex cumulata, the the rare sedge, which has been duly flagged, and which I went to see, by the way. There are no further issues. We have
No.
received NDDH approval on this one as well.
No health department approval is needed because there's no house there.
Yes, that's the next item. And you are recommending approval.
Yes.
Okay. Gonna skip ahead. I will therefore entertain a motion to approve DEC number 24027.
I'll make a motion to approve DEC.
Thank you,
Uh,
Commissioner Morano, for
I
making.
forgot the numbers.
Oh, I'm sorry, it's DEC 24027. I'm upping. the-
4027.
Okay, thank you. Do I have a second for that motion?
I'll second.
Thank you, Commissioner Langer, for seconding. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The DEC number 24027 is unanimously approved. Okay, I'm going to move ahead to WAA number 24029, Alexander Alfred Jezierski, 0 Linehouse Road, map 36, block 69A, lot 1, construction of a single-family dwelling, driveway, septic system, well, garage, barn, and workshop. This, Margaret, am I correct that this one still requires NDDH approval?
That's true.
Okay. So which means there is really nothing that we can do with it this evening.
Right.
So I will move rather quickly beyond. This is Mr. Johnson. Okay, and this is WA number 24029. Yeah. There we go. All right,
That's the
that's the one we can,
we're on
that's 24029, right? Yes. Okay. And
no, we're not there. This is gotta keep going.
yeah, if I go page by page, I can't zoom apparently, so that I'm apologize, this is tedious. And I'll read very fast. Okay. Pretty. Okay. Okay, so there's nothing to be done with this. And that brings us to SUB number 24031, Max Candidus, 183 Thompson Road, map 87, block 37, lot 3, 3-lot conceptual subdivision with work in the upland review area on 1 lot.
I made a mistake and didn't send it to the Conservation Commission for their comment. So it's on their agenda for next week, and
Right.
I apologize profusely. And so they will hopefully comment on September 16th, and this project should, I guess, it's also on hold pending the health department approval.
Right. Right. In my notes, I had indicated only that it was waiting for Conservation Commission review. Don't be so hard on yourself. Okay, so this is, we're still way back here. Okay. So this is,
That's Jezierski Lane.
yeah.
Oh
Okay.
no, Jezierski Road.
Right. Oh, here's Candidus, right, okay, good. So the commission will now consider new applications. We have no new applications that were submitted prior to the posting of the agenda. We do, however, have an application that was received after the agenda was posted. And that is in the supplemental documents, if I'm not mistaken. So I will share my notes. Oh, sure. Okay. Shuttle back to the supplemental documents. This is WAA number 24033, Richard Mosier, 1552 Riverside Drive, map 55, block 65, lot 14A, restoration of earth material removed in the upland review area without a permit. So Margaret, do you want to, I think most of us who are present this evening understand what this is, what this relates to. Do you want to give a brief introduction?
I think maybe we should let Daniel do that.
Okay, excellent. Daniel, I saw you were in the room. You're certainly welcome to enlighten.
I'll try. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
All right, great. My name's Daniel Blanchette. I'm a licensed civil engineer. I work with J&D Civil Engineers out of Thompson. I want to thank the commission for attending the site walk on Saturday. I hope it was very illustrative to everyone about the condition of the site and what we're proposing. As we discussed at the previous month's meeting, my client, JJS Construction, accidentally removed some material on the property of their southern neighbor, Mr. Mosier. And for that, we have submitted a new application signed by Mr. Mosier to allow us to restore what was accidentally excavated. Now, the total work within the upland review area is approximately 1,500 square feet. Thank you. Yep, that's shown right there very nicely. And we estimate in total the volume of material to be replaced is around 900 cubic yards. And so I think this is fairly straightforward. Some material is going to be put back. It will be loamed and seeded. It will be graded at a 3-to-1 slope, which will then transition down to a small retaining wall at the property line. I think that's really all I have. I'd be happy to answer any questions, but hopefully the commission can approve that project this evening.
Thank you.
Well, I was under the understanding that the work on the Mosier property doesn't include the retaining wall. Is that right?
That's correct. Yeah, the retaining wall is on my client's property, a different
Oh.
property.
And so the retaining wall isn't necessary to restore the Mosier property, correct?
Correct. Thank you.
Okay. I am willing to issue this agent approval if the commission sees fit.
Do commissioners have any questions or concerns about this application?
No, it sounds reasonable.
No questions.
Any others? Thank you. So do Margaret, does this require a motion or
No, I'm just putting it out there that I will issue it. You just give me the nod. Nobody objects, then I will do so.
okay, I hear no objections. So we're
Okay, thank you.
certainly.
It seems to me that this is just one piece of the jigsaw puzzle, that whole site that we were looking at.
Right, this is separate from the rest of the,
Yeah, I
The-
know, but it's all
the-
part of the same jigsaw puzzle. It's work in progress.
well, I think
I
it's actually separate because it's on a different lot.
Yeah.
Right. It is its own application.
And I
Oh.
think it makes sense to get this done ASAP so it has time to get seated and taken
Yeah,
care of.
yeah.
Yeah.
Finish the job.
Excellent, thank you. Okay, and that brings us to the next item on the agenda, permit extensions. And what should be MOD number 24003, formerly MOD number 21028, Wojciech Sidika, 1574 Riverside Drive, map 55, block 65, lot 14, modification of IWA number 21028. This is an attempt to come into compliance for violations. So I need to bring us back to our other document set. So bear with me for a moment here. Okay, I will do my sharing. This. So if I'm not mistaken, we can down fairly quickly this way. Now this is not. Okay, I believe this really begins here. Okay, so Margaret, I don't know if it's appropriate to have Daniel speak about this as well. I know you have some extensive notes on it in your report.
Certainly, Daniel
what-
should present.
Okay, Daniel.
We haven't seen the plan.
Okay, the floor is once again yours.
Thank you. If I could share my screen real quickly, let me see if I can do that.
Of course, I'll stop sharing mine. The
Thank you,
screen is yours
sir.
as well.
All right. All right. Can anyone see that site plan?
Yes.
Yes.
You can see it? Okay, great. So again, this is the latest site plan that was submitted, I believe, just a few days ago to the town hall. It was submitted by my partner, Janet, last week. I was on vacation, so we haven't made any changes since the previous site walk on Saturday. Since the last meeting, we've made a couple design changes. The building has been raised back up, so now it will be 6 inches lower than what was originally approved. It was originally approved at 453 for a finished floor elevation, and now we're proposing 452.5. And so what that did is it allowed us to match in with the previously approved drainage design. We do not need any underground chambers under the parking lot. Half of the building, the western half of the building, the western half of the parking lot will flow into a basin here, which will then spill over into these wetlands here, which provide additional storage and treatment before finally flowing down into another pocket of wetlands and then theoretically crossing Route 12. The eastern half of the building, the eastern half of the parking lot will be directed to the existing basin here, which I think we all saw at the site walk. And again, a very small portion of the neighboring property will be directed into a swale along the southern boundary into these wetlands here, which should then flow again across the road. I haven't made any changes since the site walk. I know at the site walk we talked about a couple issues. First of all, there is some wetlands disturbance here, which we were not aware of. We think that the silt fence is very close to the... Oh, no, I'm sorry. These plans have been updated. I'm sorry. Yeah, no, these plans were. I pulled the silt fence back in to show a small amount of wetland disturbance here. I estimate around 150 square feet, again, of debris that has rolled into the wetlands. That will certainly be removed. If I go to my other sheet, this was sheet 3 again. We have, I think, a 6 or 7 sheet plan set. If I go to... So this is a larger scale plan at a 20 scale instead of a 30 scale that shows more of the site. And it also includes some notes here at the northern portion of the property. There's some large stone stockpiles here that will be removed and graded. This will be a flat gravel pad. And then again, we talked about replacing some of the drainage pipes here. And so again, this is part of a 6 or 7 sheet plan set The final plans have not been reviewed by Margaret. We're not expecting approval at this meeting. I would be happy to answer any questions. I guess I have one question of my own. I'm going to stop sharing my screen here. When I had met with the town hall staff a few months ago, we discussed about submitting a permit extension application and a permit modification application. I know at the site walk, we had talked about submitting a new application, a brand new application. And so I guess my question is, do you suggest we withdraw our current applications at the meeting this evening? I'm not sure procedurally how you want to handle that. So I guess that's my question. I'd be happy to answer any other questions.
Before you leave off the discussion about the proposed plan, Daniel, what are you proposing to do with the pipe that was installed draining wetlands into the stormwater basin without any engineering?
All right, let me go back and share my screen 1 sec.
While he's doing that, I have a question. On Saturday, I was asking if we would be able to compute if that retention pond, that whole retention pond area, just to the west and the theoretic drainage under Route 12, which is not functioning. I'm of the opinion that if it holds all the stormwater that's currently generated on this site, if ever the state of Connecticut decides to fix underneath 12, it's a plus. But I don't think that that should even be factored in, or it should be factored in with a note that says that it's was inspected and found unfunctional, or a note from us to the state saying, you guys aren't taking care of the fundamental stuff out here. Where's all this infrastructure money? I have a second question, which has to do with piles of rocks and where the retention pond uphill, what's it called? It's not Palmer's Pond, it's some pond up there.
This is Chairman Dustin, it's Perry Pond, I believe.
Perry Pond. We've talked about some seepage at the one area, and I'm wondering if we could just pile rocks up against it, get rid of them that way. But I'm not an engineer, you are. Toot, toot.
Okay, thank you. I guess I'll address the second question first. So again, looking at the site, here's Perry Pond shown to the west. Here's the large stone and mortar dam. And right about here, a little bit north of the stone dam, is where water kind of seeps out of the ground. And we have some drainage that is existing to try and redirect that around from the building. I'm not sure that piling rocks up where it's seeping out will really stop the flow of water there. I'm not an expert with dams. I'm not sure the best way to plug that up.
Neither am I, but I would love to see this site with just the topo maps, nothing on it. Because there's a place which surprised me. It goes more straight out to the south of that pond. And then there's a very steep drop off. And it comes by some of this lot 14 stuff, but it doesn't show up on this drawing. But as natural as it might have been, including both sides of Route 12, because somewhere they're screwed up, and 100 years ago, the weight of the vehicles that came on Route 12 was nothing like they are now. That's out of date. It should have been fixed a long time ago, and it wasn't. But I don't think that we should penalize the client and their attempt to refurbish this lot. And it all needs to be done. It's their lot now. They've got to figure out, they don't want to have problems with water coming downhill and through their property or leaving their property. They don't want to be flooded. They're way up on the top of a hill. So they've just got to take a more complete look at how the water's going through there. I think all of these stormwater measures are adequate and correct. But I'm not a hydrologist either. But the wetlands that are up there, and some of it's man-made and some of it's not. And now we're stuck with failed infrastructure of the state. I think that this area should be able to retain all of the guys' stormwater from the property, but I asked if you could compute that. And I'm still, I see these nice lines here. And
So Daniel, you've removed the underground recharge areas, I see.
Yes, ma'am, that's correct. Yeah, once we were able to pick the building back up, we were able to direct drainage west as was originally approved, which again, I feel is a much better design once we pick the building up. If we lower it, we don't have the elevation to drain west.
Oh,
And so
okay. So we originally came back to this page to ask about whether you were going to leave the pipe that was installed without any permit.
this pipe here you're referring to under the
Yeah.
new driveway.
Right, because I strongly feel that if that pipe remains, that we need a report from a soil scientist about the effects on the hydrology of that wetland.
I think that's reasonable. In a perfect world, we'll get DOT to fix the drainage here, in which case all the wetlands at the southeast corner will drain east under the road as it was originally designed. Again, in a perfect world, DOT will fix that. Then we can get rid of this pipe.
So
If
are
we-
you going to submit a revised stormwater report eventually? Because
Yes, ma'am. I expect that to get submitted to you very shortly.
So my recommendation, originally when we tried to pull this project back into compliance, I thought a modification would work. But because the scope of the project has increased, the commission isn't allowed to approve all this work under a modification, and it needs to be a new permit. Those modifications are not for the increased scope of work. They're only for changes to a plan without increasing the scope of work, unfortunately.
I see the owner, Justin, has his hand raised. Perhaps we could listen to what he has to say.
So my first question, this is, I suppose, both to Margaret and to Daniel. So if the inlet of the pipe that we put in had an identical elevation to the box culvert that is currently in place, but of unknown functionality, would that not suffice to say that that isn't affecting the wetlands any more than the current pre-existing drainage structures? The elevation would be the same. I'm not sure how it currently is between the pipe and the culvert, but if the elevation is the same, I don't see less or more water being drained from the wetlands than previously, or at least originally theorized. If that makes sense.
I have no comment on that.
I think that's an excellent idea, Justin. I will have to double check the elevations of those pipes and see if that's workable. I'm a little bit concerned that the pipe headed towards the road is a lot lower than the pipe that's headed under your new driveway. And the driveway pipe can't be lowered that much, or it won't really go into the basin with enough storage. But it's a great idea. I will definitely take a look at it.
And I had one more question as well. So is the additional scope of work that Margaret is referring to, is that the rotation of the building? Or what exactly, Margaret, are you referring to?
The installation of the pipe draining the wetlands into the stormwater basin with no permit and no engineering was an increase in the scope of work. Another increase was the wetland filling observed on the sidewalk, and the wetlands that were filled on the west side of the 300 square feet filled on the west side. Finally, replacing the pipes that drain water from Massachusetts into the stormwater basin is an increase in the scope of work. and all this grading to be done where there's a big pile of rocks and the other work up in that area was, I don't believe was ever approved under the original, was it, Daniel? All that grading up there?
On kind of the northern part of the site.
Removing that pile of rocks was not on the approved plan, was it? The approved plan just showed the rocks sitting there. And so
I'm
that
sorry.
second, prepping the site for a second building was not approved in the original permit application.
Yes,
Justin
yeah,
said
correct.
theoretically that was a dream, but it wasn't shown on the plan.
That's correct, yes. But in terms of the pipe under the new driveway, rotation of the building, I thought that those had been discussed at our in-person meeting
Yeah,
back
the building is
June or
not an
July.
increase in, the building rotation, I don't consider an increase in the scope of work, but other work that's been done without a permit has increased the scope of work. And some of the other stuff you're proposing is increasing the scope of work.
May I ask a
Commissioner
question?
Ober, please.
The new driveway has a pipe, 6-inch pipe. I'm not good with measurements. Goes underneath, it goes, takes from the wetlands into a retention pond. And the elevation of that is not in excess of the box culvert because the retention pond was empty. So, and they all have to fill up with water before they discharge through the box culvert. There's no history of flooding on Route 12. Apparently, up until now, all of the stormwater that's come across the property has been contained on the property because the culverts don't work. The culverts don't work, so it wasn't getting under there. It was percolating down through. I kept asking that question. I kept looking at that area where there were still some trees growing in it, and it was adjacent to the box culvert, but it was nowhere near flooded. Of course, we haven't had a lot of heavy rain recently. That's why I asked, what's the math on this? How much will that hold? Will it hold a 100-year flood? Because it doesn't seem like the stormwater on the property has been an issue beyond the property. So now he wants to develop the property and it's going to change the profile, the roof and the parking lots and those things, more runoff going into the wetlands, and they'll filter it, especially if they've got a vegetative buffer on their way in. That doesn't seem to be as much of a concern as the water flow through the whole property. Now, I believe I've been hearing a suggestion where that frog was in the pipe. I believe I've been hearing the suggestion that yes, the scope of work, if it's going to expand, it should fix this too, because you're only going to do it once. So, and we can't count on the state to fix it under Route 12, but we haven't had it flowing over the top. Mr. Just, have we? I don't remember it flooding that area. So
I don't.
Marla
foresee-
said that Route 12 was overtopped by muddy water during a hurricane.
during a hurricane. So that's the 100-year flood? I don't know.
I don't know either, but I mean,
Daniel,
I
can
guess
that
there were,
retention pond be engineered so that it will not overflood Route 12? Is
I
that
mean,
the way to solve this problem?
I don't think I could design a drainage model that would provide adequate storage so that a 100-year flood never leaves the site. When I have a stormwater, a drainage model, it has to have an exit. And again, if I'm adding impervious area, I add storage to compensate for that. I'm not sure I could design a basin big enough to just say water's never going to go over Route 12, assuming the drainage is completely non-functional. If
But if
that
we're retaining a lot more site, once in a while, 12, once in a while, 12 now.
Commissioner Ober, we're
I
losing.
lost, yeah.
Yeah,
You're not
I
I'm
think
hearing.
just trying to solve this problem because Daniel's going to be redrawing it.
So Margaret, I take it that some of what Commissioner Obert is saying here supplies the rationale for our needing a revised stormwater report as part of a new permit application, right? I
Right, and
mean,
really, there are two options. I think Daniel and Justin could either withdraw this application to modify, or the commission could deny it based on the increase of scope. So it doesn't matter to me which way that plays out.
it seems to me that the alterations to the site are significant, to say the least, and still somewhat less than fully clear. And given that, we're not in a position to make judgments about what the effects on the hydrology would be without further consultation.
That's
So
what I
perhaps-
thought Mr. Blanchett was agreeing to do, to update everything and provide us a new application. That was his question right at the beginning.
Yes, that's
Yes,
correct.
that's the answer.
I will certainly have final plans and new stormwater analysis submitted to Margaret in a couple days.
Good.
It would certainly be the preference of the applicant if we can continue using the applications we've already submitted, the permit modification and the permit extension. If we have to withdraw, we have to submit a whole new permit. It involves additional fees for my client. And again, that makes me think that we're less likely to get approved at the next meeting.
Well, it's hard for us when we don't see the plan before the night of the meeting. It's
Of
very
course.
hard, and I know you're pressed for time. Um,
Some of what I just,
I cannot recommend an approval of this modification, and I recommend either withdrawal or denying the request to modify due to the increased scope of work. They just,
some of what Mr. Blanchett just said speaks to issues of the nuance of the law and what the law will permit. We could waive the application fee for a new application, or we could transfer the application fee.
the commission
it's only a
cannot waive
matter of
any
fee.
fees. Charlie, only the selectmen can waive fees. The commission is not allowed to waive any fees.
Okay, well,
If I may,
I just want to solve the problem.
if I
Justin,
may ask here, I have a question. This is Justin speaking. So the additional scope of work is basically north of the pipe that is the creek, correct? So basically, what I want to establish,
It's not just that, Justin. It's the filling that went on. It's the pipe that got put in without any permit. It's,
correct, I understand. So if we follow the pre-existing plan, we abandon the pipe, leave the pipe north of the creek. So that we originally wanted to replace the pipe that's by our existing building that goes into the catch basin where the frog was. That was our idea as a form of maintenance. If that can't be done on this application, fine, so be it. We don't want it to be holding back the project, if you understand. So we wouldn't be replacing that pipe until the end of this project anyway. So basically, I'm trying to phase this project in a way where current work isn't paused by work that would be post. Like, so let's say we're in phase 1 right now, where we need to be crushing aggregates, which will be done regardless of what grades are approved, correct? Correct.
it's being paused because of the violations that continue to occur on a daily basis, for one reason. And I don't see
understand,
I don't see any sincere effort on your part to stop filling wetlands without a permit. We just saw fresh demolition debris next to the stream. That's an increase in the scope of work that just keeps going on and on and on. And that's one of the reasons that we can't allow you to modify this permit, because you're not following the plan and you're increasing the scope of work.
So is the objective to remediate the wetlands and to remove the debris and move the silt fence? Or is it to fill in those wetlands at this time? We can remediate these wetlands and remove that scope of work from the project. If you understand what I'm trying to get at here. So So even if we had a new application, correct? We'd still have the current violations. What is the process for us to get not into violation?
It has to be a new application.
So we can't restore the wetlands, basically. We have to get a separate application to approve the filling of the wetlands that was filled with debris, correct?
We're
that-
not going, the filling of the wetlands is not going to be approved, except for what was previously approved under
Correct. So
your
we have to
original permit. So these new violations are going to be handled under some separate, it can't be approved under this modification.
So I understand, so they have to be remediated and not added, correct? I don't believe you understand what question I'm posing here. So
I don't believe you understand what I've been saying for about 30 minutes now.
I understand. So let's say if we have a new application, that new application wouldn't be covering leaving the areas that have been filled in, correct?
You're
So the
going to
areas
be
have to be
required, you're
remediated.
going to be required to remove the fill under the supervision of a soil scientist.
Okay,
That, I take it, Justin, that what Margaret is saying is that is a separate matter.
so my question now is, if we I'm sort of at a loss of words here in terms of, I understand how there's an additional scope of work north of the pipe. And I understand that we put in a pipe without prior designs and approvals. So what I am proposing, so that we can continue working at this time, we remove the pipe under the road. So that removes that additional scope of work. The violations are a violation, as Margaret has stated, and we will remove the replacement of pipes from the scope of work that are current next to the existing building on site. If you understand what I'm saying.
At this point, it doesn't seem, honestly, I'm so frustrated with what's going on at this site. It doesn't seem to matter what the plan shows, because you just continue to do whatever you think of on any given day.
So
It's
Margaret,
just been a total failure to follow, I feel like you've egregiously failed to follow the plan, and we shouldn't drag this conversation out indefinitely tonight. I think we should make a decision about whether the plan's going to be withdrawn or denied, the request to modify, and move on.
so Margaret, if I understand you, the number of changes that have been made to this project have really made it impossible at this point to continue with a modification of the permit that was originally issued, and hence the need for a new permit. So am I right that's your opinion?
Yes.
Yes. So the question, unless other commissioners would have something to add, would be, Daniel, for you and your client, whether your preference is to withdraw or to have the commission deny. My sense is you prefer to withdraw and to prepare a new permit with the fully revised plan and including a revised stormwater report, on which the commission will promise to act with as quickly as we are able to under the regulations.
So if I may ask one more time, so this is a separate question. Is there a set guideline in the town in terms of modifications to permits and what is allowable as a modification? Is there any prerequisite, any case that we can be compared to previously? So I understand, okay, there's additional work, but compared to other projects, has the same protocol been followed?
Yes.
What classifies as too much of a change?
Increasing the scope of work. say if you only asked to rotate the building, that would be easy. It's all this other stuff that has happened at the site that and is proposed to happen at the site on this plan now, which was only originally intended as a modification, not increasing the scope of work. So I think that maybe there was some misunderstanding along the way about what the original scope of work was. But in the past, the commission has allowed modifications when the scope of work wasn't increasing. And that's the threshold to allow a modification is when the scope isn't increasing.
So my feeling is that we should proceed with this. I'm not hearing anything from other commissioners, but I think at this point, I'll put the question, Daniel, to you and your client to state what your preference would be. And is it to withdraw the application and apply for a new permit?
Yeah, am I correct that a request to withdraw an application must be submitted in writing? I think that's correct, in which case I would advise my client and the commission to not take a vote this evening, and tomorrow we would submit that request in writing to withdraw our application.
Margaret, does that make sense? What?
It's okay with me, I suppose, but I just want to add that someone withdrew verbally at a previous meeting and the commission was okay with that and they didn't submit it in writing. So I can't honestly say that I've read anywhere that it has to be done in writing. If you just say that you want to withdraw tonight, we could leave it at that and you can submit a letter tomorrow.
It'll be reflected in the minutes anyway.
Yes.
Right.
Commissioner Morano. All right, my sense is if there's no further discussion, that is how we will proceed, and that this application to modify will be withdrawn, and we look forward to receiving a new permit application.
All right. Thank you for your time, everyone.
Thank you very much, Daniel.
Thank
Good
you.
evening.
Thank you.
Helping us to understand what's happening here. Okay, don't go too far away though. The next item on the agenda is EXT number 21028. This is Roger Sudika, 1574 Riverside Drive, map 55, block 65, lot 14, extension of IWA number 21028. So Margaret, is this now a moot point, or is this something that we need to act on?
Well, it's a separate application. The permit expires now after 5 years on December 14th of 2026. And so because of the ongoing violations, including unauthorized wetlands filling, at this time, you know, it makes me uncomfortable to an extent to extend a permit that is in violation.
Right.
Hi, everyone. Daniel again.
Daniel.
If I may, I think my client Justin has left the meeting. And so tomorrow I will advise my client to also withdraw the extension request.
Thank you.
My request would be that the commission take no action at this time.
I was going to ask whether it made sense to proceed in that way, since you're applying for it, you're submitting a new permit application in any case.
Yes, sir.
I extend the-
It'll start the clock ticking again.
Okay. All right, are other commissioners comfortable with proceeding in that way? We will simply take no action on this, on EXT 24001
Yes.
meeting. Okay, thank you very much. All right, this brings us to active violations and pending enforcement actions. VIOL number 21036, permit IWA 22022, Mark Bear, 1227 Thompson Road, map 116, block 24, lot 10. This is a show cause hearing for grades not as authorized in modified plan approved by the commission on February 9th, 2021. As commissioners know, a cease and desist order has been issued. So this is now a show cause hearing to consider whether the cease and desist order should be lifted. Margaret, would it make most sense to begin with your most recent inspection of the site?
I think we should let, is Greg Glod still here?
I believe.
Yes.
Yes.
I think we ought to let the applicant speak first.
Okay, good idea. Thank you.
Okay, good evening. For the record, my name is Greg Glod. I'm a licensed land surveyor and business partner at Killingly Engineering Associates with a place of business at 114 Westcott Road in Danielson. We did have a site walk a couple of weeks ago with Margaret Washburn and with First Selectman Amy St. Odge. I do thank them for coming out to view the current status. Last month, Norm Tebow, my business partner and professional engineer, I know came before the commission. We kind of joined this whole application process or this project late in the process. What we did do is we did do an as-built survey and a modification plan, and I submitted that to Margaret last week. I can share my screen because I don't believe that is on your thing. So if you don't mind, I'm going to share the screen.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay.
You didn't submit a plan to us.
I emailed one over to you.
I didn't get it.
Okay. Yep. So I did last week. So let me share what I have here. Okay, so is everybody seeing the screen?
Yes. I am.
Okay. So this is the plan that we created, and I can point out the changes that are different from the original site plan that was done several years prior and started by the original contractor doing the work out there. Just going to give myself a little bit of room here. So the difference is between the plan, the house is constructed in the exact location as it was per plan. It is built 2 feet higher in elevation than the design plan, and that did a couple of things. It helped alleviate the grade for the driveway, but obviously it put a little bit more distance from the elevation to the to Little Pond. The retaining wall along Little Pond has been constructed in accordance with the plan, including the top elevation. I did confirm it's within a few inches of the height that was proposed. There are granite steps in the middle of the area. Then there's a flat area, and we go to a second wall. Across this site, it's kind of a terraced site now. There were 4 retaining walls proposed on the original plan. There are now 6, so that creates a couple of extra terraces to help with the grading on the site. It was a very extreme, difficult site for grading and for construction and trying to bring everything together. So the second wall is here. That wall was shown on the design plan and is again in accordance with the plan, both in height and length. This third wall that we come to that's just before the house, that was not shown on the plan. What was shown on the plan was basically from the back of the house to the second retaining wall was a 10-foot drop in grade. And it was also a 2-to-1 slope, which is rather steep. There were some stairs designed in there. What we now have is we have a flat terrace between the 2 retaining walls, which does create a better situation, both in usability for the land and also stability. The Connecticut guideline for soils and erosion that's put out by the Connecticut Department of Environmental Protection, they like slope benches or terraces when we have steep slopes. They recommend them, and by having a few more of them here, it actually helps slow any water that might be flowing across the site and any future erosion problems that there could be. So The stairs were originally supposed to be right below the house. They are actually over towards the north of the house. Those wooden stairs are now in place and exist. This area between the second and third wall is relatively flat, but it's secured with kind of riprap stone, and there's a little bit more stone up here. Then we come to the area just before the house. That area is stabilized and it is flat and it has pea stone on it right now. The deck has not been constructed as of yet. It was shown on the original plan. The proposal, though, that we would like to ask for modification to is to have the deck have a kind of a 4-foot walkway that would go along the back of the house and come over to the driveway. This would allow people from the driveway to walk and get onto the deck on the second floor, or the main elevation. It's not really the second floor because it's a walkout. Excuse me. That would be one of the proposed changes. This retaining wall here, which is the 4th retaining wall, that is now in place. The catch basin that was on the original plan is in place, as well as the 4 stone, the 4 4x4 leaching galleries for the water. The original design called for the driveway to come down with a curbing and direct all the water from the paved surface into this catch basin and then infiltrate it to the ground. That is still the plan. The driveway is rough graded, but is not completed at this point. Going on to the north side of the house, this area is all stabilized with lawn, as is the front area of the house stabilized with lawn. And I believe 2 weeks ago when we were out there, we could see the seed was in. I have photos tonight that I'll share that show the grass is nice and thick and green. We do have more of an area here up against the woods that's stabilized with riprap slopes. Then we have the other 2 retaining walls that are along the front of the house between Route 193 and the front of the house. Septic system has been installed. One design change that was made was in conjunction with the septic system tank and the pump chamber. They called for 2 separate chambers. We designed a single chamber, or we recommended a single chamber because it was very deep. And the soils that are out here are very coarse gravels and cobbly stone, and digging a hole this deep, everything was just caving in. They basically had to dig a hole that was some 30 feet across to get this tank in. It's also why it was moved farther away from the house, because they would have been undermining the footings of the existing foundation. So that was placed there. It was inspected and approved by the Northeast District Department of Health. The leaching field is in the same location as designed. That has also been approved and inspected by the health department. The other thing that I would mention is, because of the movement of the tank, the existing well that's down towards the front area here, I call it the front, but towards the lakeside, that well was drilled in a different location. We assume it was done because the well rig had problems getting down the steep slope, and that's where they put it in. So when the septic tank went in per plan, at such a steep grade, it was hard for the contractor to measure the 75 feet. And it wasn't found out until after the tank was in that we were only 65 feet from the well, which violates health code. So we did apply for a new permit for a well to be drilled up front here. That permit was granted by the health department. That well has been drilled, is in place, and the new line has been run to the house. I know 2 weeks ago at our meeting that was not done yet, but that has been done and is completed. The other design change that was made was in relation to the driveway itself. The original plan, the driveway came in at an acute angle to the road. And I'll show you the original plan in just a second. But what that did was, anybody leaving the site was not afforded or did not have the ability to make a right-hand turn and head north towards Massachusetts. The proposed buyers for the house asked if we could make that modification. So we did do a design plan of that. I think Norman might have showed you that last month. We did submit it to the Department of Transportation. It was approved. I did submit that letter last week in an email. I will show it to you tonight in a minute. But we did gain that approval What that does is it straightens out the driveway a little bit. The driveway probably went more like this before. We shifted the driveway over to the south, probably about 8 to 10 feet. We're proposing to armor the shoulder here with riprap for this shoulder. Part of that is already done. This upper part has already been done. This lower part has not. That still needs to be completed in the field. I will point out that in this area, we are conscious of the owners to the south. We don't want to change drainage patterns in between our property and theirs. We're not proposing any changes within 6 feet of the property line to the existing grade. That differs from the design plans because the design plan in this area was grading right to the property line. So we're not going to do that. We're bringing it away, trying to, again, keep the neighbor to the south protected from whatever water. I do show his driveway, his circular driveway on the plan here. We're trying not to change. I know that was a concern that might have been relayed to the commission or to members of the town. We want to try to keep that in. At our site walk, I think Margaret, you and Norm Tebow were able to walk down to the bottom southeast corner of the property. And I do believe that there was no evidence of water making its way down there or any kind of erosion or sediment happening or making its way into the little pond. As a matter of fact, the site is so gravelly, most water just drains down the site and does infiltrate into the ground. The other design change that we would have is we are just asking for a little stone area that will be along the driveway. If they do have guests, that would afford them an area to park on the driveway. I will point out the existing design plan for the site, the driveway was designed at 18% slope. We will now be at about 15%. That's due to the fact that the house is a little higher in the field constructed. So it gave us the ability to make this happen. What I'm going to do real quickly is I'm just going to show you, I don't want to close that off. Forgive me, I don't share too often, so I want to make sure I don't close something I'm not supposed to. So this is the original design plan, and I just wanted to be able to point out how that driveway, there was no physical way to take a right-hand turn. It went almost adjacent to Route 193. And you can see the grading that was being proposed over here. So we're over this way a little bit more, but we're not doing any grading. We steepened the slope. We are going to still have a curbing along our whole driveway. It's still going to make its way down to that catch basin once it's paved and proposed. You can see the retaining walls that were here on the original design. There were 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 of them. We now have 6 in total. Again, we think it's a good design to have those tapers. I believe that's what they were accomplishing on this original plan, was trying to do some sort of a terrace so that they, it would help or assist in keeping erosion down. I will show a copy of the DOT letter, and it's basically dated August 20th, 2024. Again, it was emailed. I can send it again, Margaret. I appreciate your efforts on this, but I will email this to you again.
I have the letter. I just didn't get the plan.
Oh, okay. There were 2 attachments, so for some reason, maybe it didn't go through.
I got the plan
So-
from our zoning enforcement the letter from Cindy Dunn, our zoning enforcement officer.
Oh, okay. So maybe it went to them as well, too. So again, this was the complete, and it was approving the driveway realignment plan that was submitted to them. So.
Well, now, and it's my understanding that it says no work is to commence within the state right of way until you have received a state Connecticut Department of Transportation permit, which you do not have yet, right? You're going to apply for that?
He has applied for all of that. So yes, no activity can occur between the highway line and the edge of pavement. And he's in the process of that. I failed to ask him today where he stands, but I can ask Brian Meehan, who's the contractor doing the site, where he stands on that. And I'll just show, I'm sorry, go ahead, Margaret.
Who applied for it?
Brian Meehan is the contractor of record. So we gave him all the information. He was supposed to apply and get that in the works, but I do not know where he stands in the process of that. And then the last thing that I would show the commission is a couple of images. So this is looking from the front of the house towards Little Pond. So this is the area to the north of the house, just showing you what was 2 weeks, just the grass seed has now been fully stabilized and is growing very nicely. This is looking from the proposed driveway area. That is the septic area. Those are the two front retaining walls and the front lawn area. Again, just pointing out the stabilization that has happened over time. And the last one, this is kind of looking down where the proposed driveway will be. One of the other things that has happened, Margaret, since our site walk is the debris piles that were at the bottom of the pile. That was all this unwanted rock or unusable material. That has been removed from the site right now. So I just wanted to give you an update on that. Again, I will turn it over to you, Mr. Chairman. And
Greg, did you say you're not applying for a modification, are you?
we did not apply for modification. This is a show cause hearing. I did call it a modified site plan because I
Right.
wanted to show the differences and to discuss with the commission.
So could you have somebody drop off a couple of hard copies of those plans and email them to me? Because I never got the email.
Yes, I can have some plans and I can email it again. Yes, I can.
Excellent. Thank you, Greg. Margaret, did you have any further comments? Do other commissioners have questions for Greg?
It seems to me that in light of the progress that's been made, that the commission could entertain lifting the cease and desist order.
The progress does seem encouraging. It's good to see.
The
I'll make a
progress seems
motion.
Mr. Chairman, the progress does seem very encouraging.
Greg, could I
and
ask you to, I'm sorry, Commissioner Obert, Greg, could I ask you to stop sharing your screen? Much as I love
Oh, okay.
your desktop.
I thought it was. Is there?
The
know what
the
Yep.
report tonight shows that some very important progress has been made, and it looks like it's almost finished. On the one hand, yes, we could lift the cease and desist order. On the other hand, we can continue to see the as-built. There's still the question of runoff from the driveway.
The runoff from the driveway, Charlie, is all being directed into a catch basin between at the toe of the driveway, and that water goes into the underground storage chambers for recharge.
I understood that there was some retention that was to take place between the driveway and the neighbor to the south that has not yet. Am I correct there?
Well, they installed a curb, am I right?
There will be a curb on the asphalt driveway, and they're
That's right.
going to they're showing a stone. Well, the final surface in the swale, what's been called the swale all this time along the southern property line, will be stone, and about half of it's there.
That, yes, about half of it's there. It probably will be done by our next meeting.
If we lift the cease and desist order, if you lift it.
You telling me that all this other work that has been done was done before the cease and desist order? I thought,
I didn't issue the cease and desist order until last week. On September 5th.
Right.
are you satisfied with the work that has been done? You're saying we should lift it.
Yes.
And we have to lift it, even though you put it on there. Okay.
I make a motion to lift the cease and desist order.
Thank you,
second it.
Commissioner Morano. Do we have a second for that?
Yes.
Thank you, Commissioner Obert, for seconding. All those in favor of lifting the cease and desist order in this case?
Aye.
All right.
All those opposed? It is unanimously agreed that the cease and desist order will be lifted.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Am I done sharing the screen. I'm not sure how to get out of that if I have
No,
it.
you're just sharing you now, so you're fine. We're
I'm
not
fine,
seeing,
okay.
we're not seeing those lovely brook trout anymore, alas.
Thank you very much, Greg.
All right, and I thank you both for everybody for your for assistant, and Margaret, I'll send you some copies and email your drawing.
Thank you, and we
All right.
Okay.
we
Thank
look
you very
forward
much. Have a good
to a
night.
happy conclusion to this
Thank you.
project. Thank you. Thank you, commissioners. And this brings us now to VIOL number 23013, permit IWA 21028, Wojciech Sudika, 1574 Riverside Drive, map 55, block 65, lot 14. Grading work exceeded scope of work authorized by permit issued on May 22nd, 2023. Is Daniel still with us?
Doesn't look like it.
Doesn't look like it. Margaret, did you want to share your thoughts here to clarify what?
Well, I issued a notice of violation on August 28th, requiring a revised plan to modify the permit. In other words, the plan that was submitted, Daniel said it was going to change, and so I asked to have it by September 5th before the meeting, but we did not get it in that time frame. And then I also called for, unless the pipe draining the water from the wetlands near wetland flag E7 is to be removed, a report from a soil scientist regarding the effects of that pipe on the hydrology of the wetlands must be submitted by Thursday, October 3rd. So that date hasn't come to us yet. I recommend a motion to issue a cease and desist order and hold a show cause hearing at the October meeting. And I suggest that the motion state that the only exception to the cease and desist order is that the work on the following project is allowed to proceed. That's WAA 24033 Richard Mosier, restoration of earth material removed in the upland review area without a permit. And I also recommend a motion that by November 1st, 2024, Mr. Sudika should be required to submit two things. One is a wetland restoration plan prepared by a soil scientist for the removal of the fill around the edges of the pile of stones that have encroached on the wetlands and the stream that flows under the previously permitted crossing. The second item is a report from the soil scientist detailing the effects of the pipe installed under the southernmost driveway entrance on the hydrology of the adjacent wetlands.
And those would be two separate motions.
Well, really three. One for the cease and desist, accepting the work on the Mosier property, and then the requiring of by November 1st a wetlands restoration plan and a report on the effects on the hydrology. It's in my report on page 3 and 4.
That's right. So I'm going to reread that for the record, and I'm going to entertain a motion to issue a cease and desist order and to hold a show cause hearing at the October 8th, 2024 regular meeting of this commission. And and how to put this, the motion should state that the only exception to the cease and desist order is that the work on the following project is allowed to proceed. And this we've already approved, WAA 24033 Richard Mosier, 1552 Riverside Drive, map 55, lot 65, lot 14A, restoration of earth material removed in the upland review area without a permit. Do I have a second for that motion? Thank you, Commissioner Obert, for seconding. Now discussion. Commissioner Langer, you look like you have some.
If we proceed with this, is he still able to crush and remove stone as part of his normal business in areas that are not considered to be within the inlet, the wetlands area, or the 100-foot review
No.
area?
No, he wouldn't be, and he isn't crushing any stone right now anyway. he needs a revised plan in order to figure out where the stone is gonna be placed and when. It's my understanding that there's kind of an involved site prep that has to go underneath where the building is gonna go at this time. And we still don't have an approved plan showing the rotation of that building.
Okay. Okay. No, that's fair enough.
And to be clear, he's not crushing stone for his business. The stone is being crushed for that on-site project.
Okay.
Yeah, site
Okay.
preparation. Level it off.
Um,
I suppose it makes sense to do all this individual motions for paperwork's sake. I see it as a big holistic approach, as I've said earlier, and think that he's trying to do the right thing, and I think that he can probably meet all of the requirements for the wetlands and his own activities.
mhm.
But I do need to see, we all do, we need to see a more complete information about what happens with the stormwater and what could be done to expedite both processes.
Well, I will go out on a limb and state my concern, which is that he doesn't seem to know quite what he's doing or what he's not doing. And my sense from the site walk, even then, overhearing his conversations with Daniel, was that the plan was changing even while we were there with regard to which pipes would be replaced and which ones would not. So that's what would justify the cease and desist order, in my view, is that we just need a solid plan that that we can review carefully and that contains all the
Agreed.
information we need.
Agreed.
Agreed.
And by taking the extra time to pass a motion on each of those points, it's the most we can do to emphasize how we think it's serious. I think he thinks it's serious too, and he wants to do the right thing. That was my impression, but
Mhm.
it's a big job, and he's running into some situations that he might not be able to, he can't tell the state, come out here and put in a new culvert for one person. That's the way I'll look at it.
Are we prepared to vote on this motion? If so, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That motion passes
Who
unanimously.
made the motion, please?
I'll read the motion. The motion is to issue.
No,
a
I'm just asking who made
Who
it.
made the motion?
Sorry, I believe that Commissioner Morano, am I correct, made the motion and
I
Commissioner
believe so.
seconded
Yes,
it? Yes.
you read it and said you would entertain the motion, and she made it, and I seconded it. Bing, bing.
So now I'm going to entertain a further motion. And Margaret, do you want to do these as three motions, or can this one be a two-pronged motion?
It could be a two-pronged.
Okay, let's do it, or twofold. So this is a motion requiring Mr. Sudika to submit by November 1st, 2024, two things. First, a wetlands restoration plan prepared by a soil scientist for the removal of the fill around the edges of the pile of stones that has encroached on the wetlands near the stream that flows under the previously permitted wetlands crossing. Two, a report from a soil scientist detailing the effects of the pipe installed under the southernmost driveway entrance has had on the hydrology of the adjacent wetlands.
To be submitted, if I may add, by November 1st.
To be submitted by November 1st, 2024. Is anyone willing to make that motion?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you,
Make a
Commissioner.
motion to require, et cetera, et cetera.
Okay, by November 1st, 2024.
Yes.
I'll
Both-
second.
That's important. Thank you, Commissioner Langer, for seconding that. Any discussion?
Yes, just to reiterate, this is our way of saying that it does need to demonstrate that somebody who knows what's going on has made a suggestion. That way we can approve it in clear conscience.
Yes. And to emphasize the need to remove that debris from the wetlands where it was so recently dumped.
I'd like them to just be able to start and get it all done.
And done well. Any further discussion?
I
Not,
would just say that I hope that this will give them enough time to actually give us a plan that we have time to review before we are asked to pass judgment on it, because this plan I did not see until tonight. And last month's meeting, a plan was emailed 3 or 4 hours before the meeting. And to that effect, the 2 previous towns I worked in, I asked the commission to sign something called a policy statement asking for plans to be submitted the Monday of the week prior to the meeting, so that we actually get them a full week ahead of time, especially when there are Monday holidays. And you will find that 90% of the engineers and surveyors will comply with that and submit the plan a week ahead of time. And the commission members would have an opportunity to sign it and vote on it, and it would be posted on the website. And in my past experience, it makes a big difference about versus getting plans at the last minute that are slapped together and incomplete and not thoroughly thought out.
I thought our regs required they be submitted by Wednesday of the week prior to the meeting.
They are required actually by statute. We have to submit them by statute. It's received, they can be submitted the day before the meeting by statute. So what we're asking for is a policy, what I'm suggesting is a policy statement requesting the plans be submitted a week prior to that. By law, they don't have to, but like I said, 90% of the applicants will comply with it. In the last 10 years when I've worked, it's worked in both towns. It
So
gives us a chance to, I need more than an hour to look at a plan that's going to be voted on.
Mhm. So Margaret, what would that involve? That you're drafting a policy statement?
I'll in my next meeting, I'll show you the policy statements from the other towns. And it basically says it is the policy of the Thompson Inland Wetlands Commission that new applications and revised plans be submitted the Monday of the week prior to the meeting. And then you folks sign it and it goes up on the website, and most people will comply with it. And those who don't, we still have to accept it the day before the meeting. But this whole thing about seeing plans for the first time during meetings is just, it's hard to, it's far less than ideal.
Indeed. And we can't
I
give them.
totally agree.
Okay.
Also, I think that I'm wondering, we just did all this work on the ordinance and on the regulations and everything. Does this suggestion of a policy statement dovetail in with some other number that we just looked at? Is this something that's in the bylaws, or how do we make sure, because it's a good idea, how do we make sure that we properly ratify it and it doesn't get lost in the shuffle? So
Well,
if it ties in with something, I heard Commissioner Moreno say she thought we were already doing that, and it gets confusing after a moment to try to remember, did we have that? That's one of our important roles, is to make sure that everything that we want to do is proper and properly documented.
mhm. Well, Margaret, let's be sure to put that on the agenda for our next meeting.
Okay.
I think that makes eminent sense. Speaking of confusion, though, if I'm not mistaken, have we voted on this twofold motion?
No. I don't
No,
believe so.
No, I don't think so. This is part of the discussion.
good
No,
catch.
we were just finishing discussion.
Right, good, okay. I thought maybe I had dreamt that or something. If there's no further discussion of
Oh, you
the
know
motion-
something? I wrote down that Fran made the motion and David seconded it for
Right,
the
yes.
twofold.
Yeah.
Yep.
and
And
now
then we had discussion, which we just finished.
we did. That
Robert's
was-
rules are going to be happy.
And now I will ask for a vote. All those in favor of the motion?
I,
All
Aye.
those opposed? None. The motion is unanimously approved. Thank you. This brings us now to other business, which is relatively less grave, I suppose, than a lot of what we've been talking about. Discussion, publication of legal notices. I thought we had settled this, but I guess there was some question as to there was some interest on Commissioner O'Neill's part, I think, in revisiting this question of where we publish our legal notices in the Villager or in the Shopper's Guide. I apparently the Planning and Zoning Commission is still publishing their notices in the Villager, but I see that they are, and I have Exhibit A here, they are also publishing them in the Shopper's Guide. Margaret, did you want to say anything about this? If everyone saw your report.
In my report, the town council advised that he thinks the Shopper's Guide is fine. And I prefer the Shopper's Guide because I had trouble with the Villager making mistakes and they were more expensive.
Mhm.
And the Villager is not delivered to every house in town, what the Shopper's Guide is. So I have 3 reasons why I like the Shopper's Guide.
Those sound like good reasons to me. Do we know why planning and zoning is still double dipping?
No, I will ask.
They have a bigger budget.
They can share some with
I
us.
thought the last time we talked about this, we were all pretty, well, it carried.
Yes.
Majority of us thought just if it solves the problem and it saves money, do it that way. Yeah. And it seemed like it would do it. So as long as we meet our requirements, then we meet our requirements.
Perhaps in the interest of consistency, Margaret, if you're able to follow up with our friends in planning and zoning, and
I will.
if they plan to continue publishing their notices.
I'll put it in my October report.
Thank you. Sorry to give you more work.
It's okay.
The next item on the agenda are citizens' comments. We have some citizens still with us, I see, and we welcome any citizens' comments at this time. Seeing any hands raised. Well, then that brings us to reports, budgets and expenditures. I can, Commissioner Langer, did you want to assume your role as put on your treasurer's hat and present the budget?
Yes, thank you. I did have the opportunity to come in and meet with Margaret as well as Paula in the business office to review what is my responsibility and have reviewed the budget, which is included in the documents that were online. And everything is in its proper order. There was a new addition that was added under the budget line item for office supplies. Originally, there was only a $400 budget allowance for the year. And the new incumbents is $550.04. That is for the cell phone that Margaret now has. It's part of the Verizon town account. And it was recommended by Paula that in January, when we review the new budget, that we might put in an additional line item that would cover the cell phone allocations. Thank you for putting that up and sharing that. So at the moment, we see that it will hit the budget in monthly allotments, but the total expenditure for her portion of the cell phone for the year is identified as $550.04.
Mm-hmm. It's the least we can do, I think, Margaret, is to get you a cell phone. Any questions about the budget? Okay, seeing none, I will stop sharing that. Wetlands agent report is a very thorough report, Margaret. I think we've covered everything in your report. were there were a couple of, something about requisition status. Is that anything we need to talk
Those are
about?
just for the legal notices from the last
Okay.
couple sets of
Right.
decisions.
And some approvals issued, which we have discussed at previous meetings. Did anyone have any questions about Margaret's report? None. Correspondence? There's none. Am I right about that?
Right,
And no Mylars.
no.
Comments by commissioners?
We're welcoming Greg to the team.
Greg, are you there?
Happy to be here. Thank you, everybody.
Yes.
Wonderful. I hope this has been a learning experience and not the sort of experience that will make you want to run away.
Very insightful. Thank you.
Oh, it was a pretty tough first meeting, though. It isn't usually this grim.
Yeah, well, we do what we have to do.
We got results on one of them,
That's right.
finally. It's gratifying.
It's true. It's true. We'll celebrate that one when it's all done. No, any further comments? I personally want to thank you all, and I want to thank you, Margaret, for speaking of grim. We've had some complex and difficult and challenging situations, which I think we've all dealt with thoughtfully and gracefully and in an appropriately disciplined way, which I think is important.
I move to adjourn.
I think, well, you have to, is that a motion? Do I take that as a motion to adjourn? Do we have a second for that?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Commissioner
Thank you,
Morano. All
Peg.
in favor of
Night,
adjourning.
everybody.
No
Be
one's
safe.
opposed. Good night and thank you all.
Good
Thank you.
night, thank you.
Night.
Bye-bye.